current circumstances. Now, I love this one, and this took me a while to get my head around. Your current circumstances, the job you're in, the lifestyle you're leading, is perfect, exactly as it is. It's what no matter what kind of experience you're having in your day, it is perfect as it is. You have created it. You spent your entire life getting there. You may not have realised you're doing that, because I certainly didn't. But the way you show up every day, the things that you do, the actions you take, the way you speak to people, your communication, you shape your life. And so right now, where you are is perfect. And if you want to live a life of your dreams, use your current circumstances. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's say you've got a dream, something you want to achieve in life. What do you need? What characteristics do you need to be able to have this thing? Because it's way out there, right? It may seem so far away that how can you get from here to there? You get there by being that person now. There's a misconception that you have to work hard and go through a lot of struggle now to one day live your dream. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. I tried it that way, it did not work. You have to bring it into your present now. So if you know what you want to do, find out who you need to be, and then be that thing. An example of this, I was talking to a guy a few months ago who was asking me the potential to coach. And so I wanted to find out a bit more about him. So he was telling me about, he's got a job that he hates. It's a really easy job, but he hates it, and he wants to work for himself. So we were talking for a while about what he wants to do, what other things he could do. And he's got these other jobs he's doing, but he's not really excited about them. He doesn't just because it's a way to make money. Now, if you're going to leave a job to go into something that also you hate, how are you going to motivate yourself to get up every day? How are you going to do that? You're not. So I thought, okay, forget that for now. What about looking for a new job, I said to him. And he was like, no, I can't. There's nothing that pays the same money. So you've been looking at it. He says, well, no, I've read the papers. I'm like, okay. So his mindset was very much fixed. He had this one thing in the future that he could get to, and he wasn't able to have that now. So what I said to him was, okay, how about this? You don't really know what you want to do, but you know that you're not happy with who you are, because he said he felt his identity. He didn't know what his identity was, because he's in this job he hates. He's not really being able to do what he wants for his family. So I wanted to help him create that identity for himself. So I said, right, tomorrow you go into your job and you be the best damn employee you've ever been. You show up, you be the best you could be. When you're talking to people, you show your expertise, you become the best. Because if you are the best, you feel the best, right? And when that happens, opportunities open up, because your mind is open and you can see more. When you're fixed and you don't like where you're being, that is when you get held back. That is when you just stay stuck. Stuck thinking is, I can't do it now because. That's a very stuck way of thinking. But what he was saying was, I don't want to give them anything. So for him, he saw it as working hard in the job that he was doing, or working smart and working better, was about them. He missed the point that it's about him. Whatever job you do, if you being the best is always about you. It's never about the job you're in. It's never about the employer. It's never about the people you're with. It's always about who you're choosing to be, how you're showing up, and what you achieve in your day. If you don't like your job, that's fine. Use it though. Use it as best you can. Now, I'm living through this myself. I've got a 9-to-5 job, and it involves lots of office work and stuff that I don't really enjoy. I'll tell you what, it's really hard for me sometimes, because at one point I'm talking at something like this, or I'm coaching my group, and the next minute I'm ordering stationery, or I'm arranging a plumber to go to a shop, So it's hard to have that balance sometimes, and it's hard, sometimes even I find it difficult to keep doing that. And yet, I know that since I've been coaching, since I've been going deep within my own stuff and making myself better, not only am I a much better employee, but it means that during my day, I'm walking tall, because I'm giving them much more value than they ever had before. That's me going in there and being, I'm a better employee by 100 times than I was before. And that's what I bring to that. Now, one day I'm going to leave that job and I'm going to be doing this kind of stuff and coaching people full time, which is wonderful, and my life will be very different. But right now, I want to be who I want to be every minute of every day. And so I use my current circumstances to do that. It's a great place, by the way. If you've got a job, it's an amazing place to practice your skills. You know, you can, you know, whatever you need to live the life of your dreams, you can use that skill in your job, whether that's in your communication on the phone, right? Every time someone phones you up, you can become a better communicator. You can become a leader, even if you're not in a leadership role. You know, if you've all got bosses, have you ever led your boss? Because your boss doesn't always know what to do. He says he wants you to do something, but he doesn't necessarily know that's how to do it or the best thing. It's your job as an employee to go, hang on, if you do that, you'll get a result, but if you do it this way, you could get a better result, and to give him that choice, right? You can lead your boss, you lead your other colleagues. So your job, your life, is perfect as it is. How you use it is up to you. So how do you want to use your current circumstances? Can you think, as you're listening to this, of something that you hate? You know, even if you hate your job, by the way, you could go in Monday morning and love it because of what you can give yourself and how you can develop through it. So please remember that, hold that question in your head of how can I use this? You don't need motivation as well. This is one which I didn't get for a while too. Motivation, I always used to think I needed it, like if I didn't have it, how can I get anything done? And when I started coaching about 6 years ago, because when you're doing coaching for friends it's one thing, when you're doing it as a business it's a whole different ballgame, right? So for me, I used to, sometimes I'd be on it, I'd be on fire, I'd be learning, I'd be developing, I'd be coaching people, it'd be fantastic. And then it'd get hard, and then I'd have to do things I've not done before, and I'd find that it's not really enjoyable, and so my motivation would wane, and I'd find I'd stop, and then I'd go back to just doing my job, and I'd sort of forget about that, and then months would go by, and I'd be like, right, now I'm going to do it again. And then I'd spend a few months motivated and doing this thing, and then I'd go on that cycle really for a few years. And then I was introduced to a much more powerful idea. Because motivation, I mean, what is it really? It's just a short-term emotion, a short-term feeling that gives you energy to do something, right? Far more powerful than motivation is commitment. So decide what it is you want in your life, and make a really powerful personal internal commitment to having it. So, you know, I mean a commitment where you look yourself in the eye in the mirror and you say, I'm going to do this thing, and then every day you show up doing that thing. And when you do that, guess what happens? You show up, even on those days when it's hard, when you don't want to be there, when you can't be bothered, but you're committed to do it anyway. When you're doing the thing that you love, motivation comes, you create it, you know, you inspire it from within. It's not something you wait for, it's something you create by committing and by taking action. Now, if you wake up every day committed to something, even if it's only something you can do for, say, 20 minutes a day to begin with, that's okay. I started off doing this for 20 minutes a day. That's all I did. And then it built up. Motivation is never something to try and focus on. It's more an excuse, you know, I can't be bothered, so I'm not going to do that thing. So the way to do it, by the way, is not to wait for your day-to-day emotions. That's why it's important to know what you want to do and to commit to doing it. Now, I did it myself, actually. I'll give you a specific example. At the beginning of the year, I made a commitment to myself to be a world-class coach. And it's not because I thought I was that, it's just because that's who I want to be. So I decided to speak it to the world, that's what I'm going to do. So then, what that does is, by the way, it means that I show up every day learning, paying attention, coaching, and doing all the things I can do in a much bigger way than I would if I didn't make that commitment. And interestingly, what it's done for me is, since then, I've coached people in Australia, America, Canada. I've never done a talk before, by the way, in January. I've never done one. And now I've done a few. You know, I talked to the BBC a few weeks ago. So things are changing, but it's only because I made that commitment. So it meant where in the past I would let my motivation wane, I can no longer do that because I'm living into it every day. I wake up every day excited to be doing that. By the way, it doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean that it's never hard, because it is damn hard sometimes. Even preparing to come to here is hard. You know, I don't do this every day. It's not an easy thing to do. But my commitment to wanting to help people to transform their lives outweighs any of my day-to-day feelings. And so, forget motivation, find what you want to do and make a powerful commitment to yourself. And by the way, commitments to yourself matter far more than commitments to anyone else. You know, when you look yourself in the eye and you know you're a person who does what you say you will, that changes things. That's a game changer. in your lives. Create more time. Now, I was going to talk about create more time, but to be honest, if you want to know how to use your time better, there's a fantastic book called Time Warrior by a guy called Steve Chandler. If anyone wants to write that down, Time Warrior. It's got loads of things in there. I'll share one quick thing. I was coaching someone a few months ago who'd been writing a book, and for 12 years she'd been writing a book. So she'd written it got rejected, so she was rewriting it. Now obviously she'd done it for 12 years. She'd lost her ability to really connect to it, right? She hadn't really, when she sits down to it, she'd been distracted. So what I said to her was, spend 20 minutes doing it tonight, but block out that time. And what I mean by blocking out the time is to get rid of distractions. No Facebook, no email, no WhatsApp, no millions of other apps that you may have. She's got a husband to look after the children for 20 minutes. And then show up inside of that 20 minutes and just write. Now, I got a fantastic email that night saying how she'd written more in that 20 minutes than she had in the past 6 months. That's how the impact of blocking out time had. You know, really focusing on one thing matters. You want to live your dreams? Focus on one thing. Do it purely. And I had a message from her a few weeks ago. She's finished her book. It took her a few more weeks, and now she's going to publishing. So blocking out time is cool. I don't want to spend too much time on that here. Time Warrior, Steve Chandler, you can learn everything you could ever need to use your time effectively. Instead of that, I'd like to just mention confidence for a moment. Because confidence is something I've battled with for most of my life. You know, having the confidence to do something. It's like, I'm not confident enough, so when I am confident enough, then I can do it. It doesn't really work that way, does it? Not really. I mean, what is confidence anyway? It's more like an absence of self-doubt, an absence of fear, an absence of all kinds of things. So if you really want to worry about confidence, it's a result. You know, how can you be confident in something if you've not done it before? It's not possible, right? How can you be confident until you've done it again and again and again? You know, you create confidence just like you create motivation by taking action. So I know a lot of people go to, read a lot about confidence. That's why I wanted to mention it here. And just to say, forget confidence, start doing something, and you will create that confidence through experience. There's no way around it, I'm afraid. There's no shortcuts to that. Now, the next one's essential. Actually, I say that a lot, because they're all essential, right? Never live in fantasy. Daydream, imagine all kinds of crazy things, but as soon as possible, start doing something. Don't leave it up to fantasy. Fantasy stays in your head and it means nothing. It's just a nice daydream. And sometimes, I used to get caught in my daydreams because it's fun. You know, you kind of get the payoff of the dream without having to do anything, because you can sit there and you can feel the emotions, right? But if you actually want to live a life of your dreams, as soon as possible, do one thing towards it. Now, I love extreme examples. So let's say I want to be an astronaut. Okay, I'm 35 years old. Plus, I've had travel sickness most of my life, so it may not be the best idea. But I'm determined, right? I've decided I want to one day see the line of blue around the Earth. I want to float. I want to be weightless in space. I've decided that's what I want to do. But how the hell am I going to get from here to there? Well, what actions could I take today? I could go online and look up space agencies, right? How to join, what's required. I could look up, get an application form. There's many things I could do, like very, very simply like that. What else could I do? Well, I could think, right, what do astronauts need to be astronauts? They've got to be damn fit, because they've got to withstand the rigors of space travel, right? So what could I do? I could do some press-ups, some sit-ups. I could go to a gym, get a personal trainer. You see how you can join the dots up very easily. What else do they need? Well, they're also pilots, a lot of them. I could go to my local airfield. I could get a single flying lesson, see if I like it. Then I could get a course and become a pilot. And also, when you're in action in your dream, you are actually, when you're in action in your dream, you find out if you want to do that dream. Because you don't have a bloody clue until you're doing it. You don't know if you really want to be experiencing it until you are. So whilst I'm doing all these things to become an astronaut, I'm finding out, right, am I still committed to this? Yes, I am, and I keep going. But let's say that they say, no, you're no good, you're too old, you're too unfit, you're travel sick, we don't want you. So, what do I do? I still really want this thing. Well, I can look at space tourism, right? Because there are ways to do space tourism. I mean, Virgin Galactic are coming up with ways. In Russia, I know that people have paid a lot of money to go up in space that way. So I could look into that. The vomit comet, you know that? And you're sort of flying up, going up like that, getting weightless. Have you seen that? I mean, that's probably pretty terrifying for me, but you know, if you want to do that thing, I could do that. So, and then it'd be about, right, how do I create that money? So how could I create £100,000 and sell my house? You know, the point is, no matter how crazy your dream, and seriously, dream as big as you can, there is something you can do right now, as soon as you go away from it, towards it. In fact, at my talk in Bristol VegFest, someone came up to me afterwards and she said that because of my talk, she emailed a company there and then in Africa about going to work with them. Now this was a dream she was going to put off for 5 years, but she decided to take action from the talk. So that's how quickly things can change. You know, how quickly, depending on what actions you take, when you know what you want.